Hi, this is Rachel from blogthislovelyllittlefarmhouse.com. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining. I'm really happy to have you. And I definitely want to say thank you for anyone who is watching and commenting and subscribing, sharing. It means so much to me to get my videos out there and help me grow. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It means a lot on these social media platforms. So today I'm going to be doing some meal prepping for when the baby is born. I am, at the time of this video coming out, I'll be 29 weeks pregnant with our second child. So it's early still, but I'm just trying to get a jump on some of the meal prep stuff. Today I'm going to be doing what I'm calling like the extras. Not full meals. It'll be easy things that can just be, that'll have to have something go with them, like chicken pot pie. It'll have to have the crust to go with it, and spaghetti. It'll have to have noodles cooked to go with it. So easy stuff like that. This still has to have some preparing, but it's easy to just dump and make something to go with it. I'm also gonna do more. I planned to break my meal prepping up into three days because I know it's gonna be very exhausting. It would be impossible for me to get it all done in one day. I'm not that high energy. So I'm doing an extras day, which is today, and then I'm gonna do a soup day because my due date's in December, so I'm super excited to be able to do lots of soups this winter. I can't wait for some fall weather so we can start having soup. So I'm gonna have the extras day today, I'm gonna have a soup day, and then I'm gonna have a casserole day because I do have some casserole dishes planned that will be just a complete meal in and of itself. All you have to do is pop it in the oven and warm it up. And that should give me about a month's worth of food prepared in the freezer if I do accomplish getting my 3 days of meal prep done, starting today. So today I am going to be using my Instant Pot to cook up some round steak. This is from our most recent calf that we got butchered. I did 2 round steaks, trimmed them up because you have to get all the gristle and stuff out of it either before or after you cook it, and I find it a little bit easier to do before. So I trimmed them all up. I'm fixing to put them in my Instant Pot for 20 minutes on high pressure with a cup of water, and then this we will shred. I'll shred after it gets cooked and put barbecue sauce on it for barbecue stuffed potatoes. It's something that everybody who hears about it thinks, oh, that sounds so weird. The first time I ever had it was in Texas at a barbecue place, and it was so delicious. So I came home and made it, and it works great with this meat. Any meat that you can cook and shred. So you can use, I'm using round steak because it's cheap and we have it in the freezer. I've done it with a roast before. You can use a roast, you can use stew meat, you can use deer, you can use beef, you could use pork. Any kind of meat that you can cook and shred will work great for this. But so I'll just cook it and then mix it with the barbecue sauce and put it in the freezer. It can be quick, easy, and then all you have to do is bake potatoes to go with it. And then when we serve it, it'll be like a fully loaded baked potato with the butter and sour cream and cheese and green onions and all that stuff, then with the barbecue meat on top of it, and it is so good. Try it before you say that's gross because it's really good. It's definitely, I kind of these days I'm like, what's a potato without barbecue on top of it? So I got my meat in here. I'm going to put about a cup of water and then get it going. Make sure the vent is to ceiling. And then I'm gonna do pressure cook. I'm gonna do it down to 20 minutes. And then I will let it natural pressure release after that. And that's gonna be ready to shred. The 4 things I'm gonna be preparing today are the shredded meat, barbecue meat. You could also use it for sandwiches or any other thing that you would use barbecue meat for. So the barbecue meat, I'm gonna be cooking ground meat for spaghetti meat sauce, and also for sourdough skillet, which is Lisa at Farmhouse on Boone's recipe. We really love it. Everyone in our house likes it, and it's easy. And then I'm going to be also doing chicken pot pie filling. So I'm going to have those 4 different things They're all gonna be doubled, so we'll get at least 8 meals out of them. Probably more than that, because I tend to always cook extra to have leftovers. It just makes my life so much easier. So we're gonna get the meat started now. So please excuse the mess. We are still mid renovation. I have not gotten my spice area fixed, so all this is on the counter. And then hopefully very soon my vintage gas stove will be here. It's actually right on the other side here. I ordered parts for it. They should be in tomorrow. So hopefully before December, all of this will be done. That's my big goal. So we'll see. But I have 6 pounds of meat here, 6 pounds of ground meat thawed. And this is what I'm gonna cook for the spaghetti and for the sourdough skillet. So I'm gonna get it going in this pot back here. I did forget to say, the Instant Pot's almost ready, but I forgot to say, when I trimmed off my gristle and the bones that were in the round steak, I always just throw in a little Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer. And then next time I'm doing my bone broth, I can throw them in with it, and it's just a little extra. You know, a lot of people, if you don't have a source for bones like we do, we get all the bones when we get our calves. You can just save your bones and stuff whenever you get meat and cook it, and just save it up until you have enough. Works good that way. I'm gonna get started in this pot on the chicken pot pie. I actually bought cooked rotisserie chickens last time we went to Sam's, deboned them, put them in the freezer. Believe it or not, the pre-cooked rotisserie chickens are cheaper at Sam's than buying raw chicken and cooking it yourself. So that's what I did. I knew it would be easier and it was cheaper. And then I went ahead and bought a big bag of mixed veggies for the chicken pot pie and the sourdough skillet. Typically I would cut up whatever I had fresh, but since I knew I was going to be doing meal prep and it was going to be a lot of work and a lot of time, I really tried to simplify and do the easiest possible because I knew it was going to be exhausting. So I'm going to get the chicken pot pie going here, and basically what I'm going to do is make a white sauce with flour and oil and milk, and then put in my veggies and my chicken. So I'm going to get that going here. This is coconut oil. It's what I typically cook with. And none of these are really things that I'm using a recipe for. It's kind of stuff that I've cooked often enough that I just make it. I will try on the blog post to give some rough amounts, but you might just have to wing it. That's how I cook a lot of times. So I got my oil in here. I probably actually put a little more because I want to have lots of sauce. And then I'm going to put some flour in. This is just whole wheat flour that I get from Azure Standard. It will probably make my chicken pot pie not quite so white, but that's okay. Since I don't really want to brown my flour a whole lot, and I'm making a roux, so I don't want it to be all brown, I'm going to go ahead and add my milk in. This is our fresh milk from our cow. We just keep it in glass jars. And I find the best thing that works for when you're making any kind of gravy, like with a roux or a white sauce, a whisk. And mix your liquid in slowly and whisk it in really well to avoid getting a whole bunch of lumps. So that's what we're going to do. And if it does get a lot of lumps in it, you can always zap it with an immersion blender before you start adding your other ingredients to get rid of them. Easy fix. So I'm going to let this come to a boil to thicken. If I need to add a little more flour to thicken it more, I can. I did probably about 1/4 cup coconut oil, a cup of flour, and about 1/3 gallon of milk. So it's got about that much in the bottom of the pot, a few inches worth of cream sauce, and then once I add in the vegetables and the chicken, it'll be a lot. So we're gonna just let that warm and heat and get thickened up. My meat is bubbling away over here. This, if you have never used one of these, this is an amazing invention if you make a lot of ground meat. It just, you can chop the meat as you kind of stir it around with this thing. It works so good. My mom had one and I loved it so much that I went and bought one. Dollar store, it was super cheap. You should try it out if you cook a lot of ground meat. So while these two things are doing their thing and the meat is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and chop up my chicken and get it ready for when the sauce is ready. Okay, so my Instant Pot just went off. I'm going to go ahead and just turn it off and let it natural pressure release before I take the meat out. But my sauce is adequately thickened. It's not super thick, but it'll be good once we get everything in it. So I'm going to go ahead and add my chicken and vegetables. Okay, so this is looking really good. I know it's probably going to be hard to see, but it is thick, creamy, loaded with vegetables and chicken. And as of yet, it doesn't have any seasoning in it, so I'm going to go ahead and season it up. So down here in the South, we season almost everything with Tony Chachere's. It's just a Creole seasoning blend. You don't have to use a seasoning blend. You could definitely use salt and pepper and spices and stuff. Typically we season with either salt and pepper, depending on what it is. A lot of times I do Tony's and then onion powder, garlic powder, or onion, chopped onion. I normally do end up doing both, but chopped onion, minced garlic. Today I'm going to be doing Tony's, and then we will taste it and see what else it seems like it needs. I'm a huge fan of tasting while you're cooking, because otherwise how do you even know if it's good or not? And obviously we use it a lot. We buy it in bulk from Sam's. Just got a fresh one in case I use all this. And also wanted to say, for the chicken pot pie filling and the sourdough skillet, I'm not going to worry about cooking the vegetables because both of those will be baked later on. So I'm not even going to worry about that. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna go with that. So this is done, and I probably will cook it with a sourdough crust when it's time to bake it. Something easy, very similar to what the sourdough skillet has on it, just a thinner version maybe, something like that. So that's finished. I went ahead and turned this meat off because it is done cooking. So I'm gonna drain all the grease off of it, and then we're gonna do the spaghetti sauce and the sourdough skillet. I'm just using not fancy, cheap, jarred spaghetti sauce. It's how we roll. I'm gonna just divide it in half. I am gonna go ahead and cook the spaghetti sauce because I find that it tastes way better. And then once we're ready to eat it, it'll just have to be warmed. It'll be cooked already. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna just mix my veggies and meat for the sourdough skillet in this one. So I'm just gonna let that cook for a while, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do my veggies and things, seasoning in the sourdough skillet. And typically, I don't even remember if I said this or not, typically for my sourdough skillet, I would do it basically like I do vegetable soup. I would throw in any kind of vegetables I have, peas, green beans, corn, carrots, onions, potatoes, cauliflower, anything that I have that needs to be used up, I would throw it in there because the flavors kind of all meld together anyway, and you don't really taste, it's like soup, you don't really taste any super individual thing. It just all works perfect. So any combination, that's generally what I do. But for the sake of ease, I'm using these mixed vegetables. And for my sourdough skillet, I do always add in some rotel tomatoes for some good flavor, and also tomato paste and or tomato sauce, just so it's not so dry. And I'm going to use my fancy electric under the cabinet can opener that's no longer under the cabinet. It's a nice full pot. And while I'm mixing, I'm going to throw in some minced garlic and go ahead and throw in some of my seasonings and spices. Fresh garlic would definitely give a better flavor, but this is what I happen to have at the moment. So, and it does not have much flavor at all, so that's why you can use a ton of it. There's a little more seasoning. And I do typically, we like our food pretty well seasoned. I do try to keep it a little on the milder side with the hopes that my 2.5-year-old will eat it. Normally she will, sometimes she won't. So with the rotels, the spiciness on this is good, but it needs a little more salt. So I'm going to just use salt instead of Tony's because I don't want to make it any spicier. And this is actually sea salt. We just refilled this container. Okay, so that's perfect. We're going to go with that. So now that's my sourdough skillet filling is ready. And chicken pot pie is ready. The last thing, and will be done, is the barbecue meat. So it is done cooking. The little pressure gauge has been down for a while. So I'm gonna use a spoon and make sure that all the pressure's out with my venting sealing knob. And then we'll pull this meat out. Okay, so it's good, ready to open. I'm just going to use my spoon and break this stuff up. It's really hot or else I would show you, but it just falls apart. It is cooked really wonderfully. It just falls apart. So I'm just going to break it up with my spoon. In essence, shredding it, but not shredding it. Okay, I don't know if you can see this very well, but it's just a bowl full of shredded meat now. I'm going to add some sauce. This is a barbecue sauce that we get from Sam's. It's from Sonny's. I'm sure they have these other places, but it is a local restaurant that their sauce is really good. So we get it from Sam's. And then I'm also going to add some white vinegar because I prefer a more vinegary sauce, and this is just a sweet sauce. So I'm going to add sauce to the right consistency, taste it, and then add some vinegar and get the flavor how I like it. It's pretty good. I'm going to add a little more vinegar. So it's sweet with the barbecue sauce, but it has a tanginess from the vinegar. Delicious. So this is done. The spaghetti's still going, and let's check it. Okay, it's looking pretty good, but I'm gonna let it keep cooking for a little while. So all these other things are done. We're gonna go ahead and bag them up. And these kind of fillings and things, I'm just gonna be freezing in gallon Ziploc bags, freezer bags. So I'm going to label them with what they are and the date. And the chicken pot pie filling. I really wish I'd have made extra of this to have tonight because it was really good. I'm really craving some of that now. But I made spaghetti for tonight, so the spaghetti is ready, but it's really hot, so I'm gonna have to let it cool for a while before I can bag it up and put it in the freezer. There we go. Now we have 2 chicken pot pie fillings, 2 sourdough scallop fillings, and I am pretty confident that each of these will be at least probably a supper and a lunch for us because it's going to have a topping. It will have other stuff to go with it, so it'll be more filling. And then the 2 things of barbecue meat. These, if we stretch them, they can probably be 2 meals because like I said, it's just topping for the barbecue potato. It's not, if you were doing it like a sandwich, you probably wouldn't get as much out of it. 1 or 2 meals for each of those. So these will be probably close to 2 if we stretch a little bit. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, probably 12 meals right here because each one will be able to eat twice. And then the spaghetti is going to be at least probably 4 meals for us. So that's a lot right there. And then once this cools, I'm going to save out some for supper tonight and then bag it up, stick it in the freezer, and I will have the first leg of my meal prep done, which already I'm better off than I was last time because I didn't do any last time. So I'm very excited to have these meals stuck in the freezer, ready to pull out. These will have a little more prep work, so I probably will end up doing these a few weeks after the baby's born when I'm feeling more like getting up and doing a little bit. My husband's not much of a cook, so the things that he's going to be preparing will be more like the soups. All you have to do is dump it in a pot and warm it up, or the casseroles, throw it in the oven and turn the oven on. So these will probably be for a little bit later on, or in those last few days right before birth. It depends on how I feel. I might use a few of them then, but most likely they'll be for a little bit later after the birth when I'm feeling up to doing a little more in the kitchen. Thank you for joining today. I hope this gave you some ideas. Sorry it's not really recipes, it's just prep method, But go over to the blog if you want. I will at least write up the prep method and give kind of general amounts of what I did. And I also put a link in the description for Lisa's sourdough skillet recipe. It is super easy, something we love at our house. And the link to pin this. So if you do Pinterest, I very much appreciate if you would go pin it to one of your meal prep boards or planning for baby or anything like that. It really helps me out. So if you do Pinterest, go pin it. That would really be wonderful. I'm definitely going to do at least one more of my meal preps. I don't know whether I'll do soups or casseroles. If you're interested, let me know which one you'd rather see in the comments below. And also, it'd be great just for general meal prep, even if you're not having a baby, to get some meals in the freezer. Quick, easy. Sometimes we're like going to the store all day, and when you get home, you could just pop something in the oven without having to do a lot of prep. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know which you would prefer in the comments down below, casseroles or soups. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for joining today. Bye. Has to have some preparing.
Oh, you had made one?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, mine or what?
Okay.
I'm in the video?
That's you in the video.
Oh.
That's okay.